Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Today is another lecture day, and we're going to have practical tips in speaking. We're actually going to practice answering particularly part two questions because throughout the week, I have realized that a lot of you have a hard time managing their 2 minutes in the part two of IELTS speaking, and definitely it sounds like sinasagutan niyo yung part 2 ng speaking na para bang kailangan talaga isa-isa siyang sagutan. And it sounds really robotic. That's why today we're going to practice. What are the best ways for you to come up with answers? So, i-cover naman natin lahat, like part 1, 2, and 3. Pero, i-focus muna natin sa part 2 today, okay? So, before we do that, as we all know, the speaking test is going to be virtual if you're going to book your IELTS exam with us, which is at Niner, Cabanatuan. So, as you all know, it's also a testing center. Nakakapag-pabook din kayo ng test, and definitely, since you've been taking your mock tests dun sa testing center, familiar na kayo on how to use the equipment, which is a very big advantage on your part. And at the same time, if nakapagpa-coaching na kayo with me, you already know what the speaking room looks like. So it's less intimidating once you already have the experience of seeing what the test room looks like. And it's going to be virtual, okay? When we're having our mock tests, it's face-to-face, but now virtual na ngayon yung mga interviews, okay? But even though it's virtual, the examiner is live. Hindi siya recorded na video ng examiner. Naka-live talaga siya and nag-uusap kayo. Like you would normally talk to someone on a Teams meeting or a Zoom meeting. Okay? So we will be quickly discussing the criteria for speaking assessment. As we all know, this is the shortest test. It's going to be a maximum of 15 minutes only. And it really depends on you. Kapag if your answers tend to be short and dead end, parang close-ended answers, then definitely it will just take you around 8 minutes to finish the interview. You will be assessed on your fluency and coherence, your lexical resource, grammatical range and accuracy, and pronunciation. These are the 4 grading criteria for speaking. So, may band levels din ang bawat isa na yan, and then they're going to tally the band levels. So, if nakakuha ka ng 7.5 sa fluency, however, medyo mahina ka sa vocabulary, medyo mababa, 6.5 ka sa lexical resource, your grammatical range and accuracy is a 7, and pronunciation is a 6. So all in all, let's do the math. 7.5 in fluency, 6 in lexical resource, 7 in grammar, and 6.5 in pronunciation. So divided by 4. So 7 ang band score mo, if that's the case. Okay? Pero if you really want to secure a high band score, you have to make sure that all these areas you're going to get a high score, okay? Again, let me remind everyone, in this session, I am highly encouraging everyone to participate. I know some of you will still feel intimidated kasi bago lang kayo. Pero I think andito naman si John si John. So, very confident siya sumagot sa speaking. So, I feel mahahawa kayo sa energy niya. Tama ba, John? Okay. So,
Yes, Ma'am Shannon. I think I'm fluent na sa English. My English.
okay, I love the confidence. That's the number one thing that you should have when it comes to the interview, right? Does everybody agree? Yes, of course. All right. So, your fluency is not the speed, is not equal to the speed. Okay? We might think that if you speak fast, you're a fluent speaker, but actually, no. Fluency is about the smoothness of your answers, how effective you answer questions, meaning, relevant ba yung tanong mo, yung sagot mo sa tanong, or medyo na-off topic? Are there many situations wherein you are hesitant to speak? Those hesitations, are they caused by content or is it caused by lack of vocabulary? So your fluency will be highly affected if there's big hesitation sensed. Okay? Self-correction and repeating yourself is also crucial in your fluency score. It's much better during the test that you don't have to correct it whenever you make a mistake. Okay? The coherence is the flow and how your ideas connect to each other. Okay? With the use of discourse markers, transition words, yun yung makakatulong talaga to make your answers coherent. For example, instead of talking in a robotic manner, what is your favorite summer experience? Last summer, I went to the beach. I went to the beach with my family. We played volleyball. We stayed at a five-star hotel. The coherence is low because hindi ka gumamit ng connectors, transition words. Okay? Because coherence is all about the flow. So, try to notice the difference. Again, the question is, what is your favorite summer experience? Recently, actually, this was just last summer, my family and I went to the beach and we stayed at Cabsat Hotel. It's in the northern area of the Philippines in La Union. That place is famous because of the nightlife and definitely because it's a hot surfing area. A lot of surfers go there. We loved it because we were able to spend quality time together and it was just a very chill vacation. I guess it's one of the best summers I've ever had. O, di ba? Ibang-iba siya dun sa una kong binigay na example. The coherence plays a big role in the way you answer your interview questions, okay? Because once you sound robotic, it also means that it sounds like you just memorized your answers. And there's a high tendency to memorize answers in task 1 of your speaking test kasi familiar naman yung mga questions lagi sa task 1. It's about you, your studies, your family, your likes and dislikes. Those are questions that you can anticipate. So if you give the impression that you memorized what you said, then definitely bababaan ni examiner yung points score mo. Okay, got it? Now, lexical resource. This is your words, your choice of words, your diction. Are the words understandable? Are they appropriate for a certain context? Are they relevant to the topic? Okay? Kasi marami tayong words in English synonymous to each other, and we can also use antonyms when necessary. Pero, nakadepende pa rin yan. If the context is formal or casual, right? Is it academically inclined or is it too street style kind of language. Kagaya ng mga expressions like, I'm gonna go there, yeah. Iba yung mga ganun. Feeling mo, ang galing-galing mo ng English kasi feeling mo slang ka kapag ganun ka magsalita. But actually, it really sounds like you're not professional. Your demeanor needs to also be professional. So it has to be in the middle of being too casual and too formal. So kailangan nasa gitna ka lang. Huwag masyadong close or relax kausap si examiner. Pero wag din naman masyadong stiff at para bang sumasagot ka lang talaga ng mga tanong sa exam. Robotic, di ba? Okay. Um, Nandito ba siya today? Let me just check. Wala. The student that I'm looking for is not here today. I think she's taking the test today pala. Ang OA naman ang reaction ko. Yeah, kaya wala siya sa um because my student needs to get an 8 in speaking. So, one of the weak areas that I noticed is frequent errors when it comes to accuracy of words. Mahilig siya gumamit ng high vocabulary, high complexity of words, but at the same time, hindi siya appropriate sa situation. So, if the holistic part of your answer doesn't sound natural, it also affects your score in lexical resource. Okay? These are going to be helpful for those who are aiming band 7, 8, 9. You have to be good at paraphrasing, idiomatic language, and less common language. If you really want to score high band scores in speaking. And a lot of countries would require that, especially for those in the medical field, like the nurses. Ang alam ko in the US, if you're applying as a nurse, you really have to have band 7, 8 in speaking. Okay? Now, grammar, on the other hand, is something that is not super, super pressuring when it comes to speaking. Although it's very important in writing, right? Well, I'm not saying that you shouldn't use appropriate sentence structure. What I'm saying is, if ever you make minor slips in speaking, in grammar, examiners are not that strict. But if major yung errors mo in grammar and repetitive siya, that's when your score can go much lower. Okay? Last Wednesday, we talked about different grammar structures, and I gave examples of how to use relative pronouns, prepositions, kasi yun yung mga areas talaga na kadalasang nagkakamali ang mga test takers. And I also presented different ways on how you can construct sentences. And of course, if the examiner sees that you have variation in your sentence structure, then definitely it would show that you're competent in your English, okay? And last but not the least is pronunciation. How well you are understood. That's why we're going back to fluency, which is make sure that you don't speak too fast. Make sure that your speaking pace is just normal. Kasi it will also affect your pronunciation. Sa sobrang kaba nung iba, sa sobrang taas nung anxiety level when speaking, they tend to slur and babble words unclearly, definitely, ang lakas makabawas ng points nun. Okay? And make sure that your voice is loud enough so that you can be heard by the examiner. Okay? Well, something that I would like you to remember is that when it comes to accent, it's not going to be a problem. But when it comes to mispronunciation, it could lead to misunderstanding, misinterpretation of your message. Kasi may mga words in English, same spelling, pero they function differently in a sentence. Let's say the word progress, progress, diba? Comment, comment. A report, a report, and to report, right? A report and to report. So it functions as a noun. It can also function as a verb. So if you interchange the proper stress of syllables or vowel sounds, it can already affect the whole meaning of your sentence. So that's why, in order for you to avoid that from happening, you have to make sure that you know you're confident enough in using the proper pronunciation of certain words. Okay? So kung hindi mo talaga sure if tama ba yung pag-pronounce ng ibang words, it's much better to use descriptive language. Huwag mo nang i-take yung risk. Okay? So for those who are interested, you can look at this. Hindi ko na siya i-discuss isa-isa because it's gonna be too long. But this is actually the IELTS speaking band descriptors. And 4, 5, 6, and then 7, 8, 9. You don't need to take a screenshot of this because this is included in your handout. So don't worry. Okay. I will also go through this briefly. So on speaking part 1, it's your introduction. And this is like an interview as well. So mag-practice na tayo. Usually, the examiner is going to ask you questions about your career or probably if you're studying. Mhm. One of the students asked me, can I tell the examiner, that I am studying for IELTS? Because one of the most common questions that will be asked, are you currently working or studying? Oo nga naman, I'm currently studying IELTS. The answer to that question is yes and no. Ma'am, nalilito mo naman kami. Why? Why yes and why no? Yes, pwede mong sabihin that you are studying for IELTS, and no, pwede mo ring i-disclose yung fact that you're studying for IELTS. First, let's answer the question no. Okay? So, kung sa ngayon, nasa Pilipinas ka, nagbabakasyon ka, and you're preparing for your IELTS, the best option is to say that you're currently on vacation and you can tell them, the examiner, what your job is abroad. Focus on that. Meaning, hindi mo na kailangan i-reveal yung fact that you're studying for IELTS. Because one of the tendencies of revealing the fact that you're studying for IELTS is that iisipin nila may edge ka. Okay, nagpe-prepare pala siya for IELTS. So, kaya niyang i-handle yung high-level questions. So, mailalagay mo yung sarili mo sa hindi kagandahang sitwasyon. You get me? So, it's much better to state the fact that You're currently on vacation, but you're originally working abroad. Or ngayon naman, hindi ka nag-aaral, hindi ka rin naman nagtatrabaho. You're just preparing your documents to go abroad. Okay? So, ang hirap naman sumagot ng none of the above or I'm neither working nor studying. Magiging too short naman yung answer mo nun. Ngayon, sa ganong sitwasyon, pwede mong i-reveal that you are studying for IELTS. Okay? So, you can either say, I'm neither working and studying at the very moment, but I've kept myself busy by preparing for my IELTS test. So, I've been studying English these past few weeks. Yan, pwede yun. Para lang mapahaba mo yung sagot mo at wala ka naman din talagang iba pang maisasagot. Okay, that's fine. That's totally fine. And another option is that you can just state the fact that you're busy preparing for all the necessary documents for you to be able to go abroad, work abroad, or study abroad, whatever requirement it is that you need, okay? Okay, isa pa sa mga common questions on task 1 is family, okay? Family. Bakit ito nakakalito? Ano sa tingin nyo? Can you describe your family? Ano unang pumapasok sa isip nyo kapag ito na yung tanong? Yes, pwede kayong sumagot. You can unmute your microphones. What comes into your mind when the question is, can you describe your family? Ang una nyo bang naiisip sa mga may asawa at anak na dyan, ang una nyo bang iniisip ay yung immediate family nyo or yung family nyo na from your parents and siblings? Kasi that's a cause of confusion. Tama ba?
Miss Shannon,
Yes?
ako, nung natanong po ako before, even though na married na ako, ang naisagot ko po ay yung ano ko, yung siblings and my mom and dad.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So yun lang po.
So, John, nalito ka rin ba nung una kang tinanong nung can you describe your family?
Yes, ma'am. Na-describe ko po yung ano ko yung mom and dad and my siblings. Samantalang married na po ako, I have my own family na. Kaya medyo na-confuse lang po ako.
Okay. Thank you so much, John. Tamang-tama, kasi ito talaga yung kailangan nating i-address. Para sa mga may asawa na at may sarili ng family, or let's say, hindi naman kayo kasal but you live together and you already have kids. Marami din kasing ganyang setup in the Philippines and there's no shame in that. I just wanna address it kasi madami ding nako-confuse. Okay? If you are already independently living from your parents and you have your immediate family, una munang iisipin ninyong sagot ay yung immediate family nyo. Kasi sila na yung immediate family nyo. Your spouse and your kids. Regardless the fact that you have kids or you don't have kids, your spouse, your partner, is your family. Let's say you have dogs. Okay? Siya na yung family mo kasi siya na yung current mong immediate family. You get it? Now, if your kids, I'm sorry, not kids, minors. May mga students kasi din ako na 17 years old pa lang, nagte-take na ng IELTS. Or si Valerie, I think you're only 18, Valerie? Am I right? Yung mga
Yes,
kakagraduate lang. Yes, Valerie? How young are
yes
you?
po. I'm 18 po.
Yeah, so sa case ni Valerie, she's only 18. Una niyang, hindi na siya malilito sa sagot niya sa can you describe your family because wala naman na siyang ibang family i-describe kundi yung parents niya and siblings, right? Okay. So, clear ba tayo doon? Ngayon, may isa pang cause of confusion. Ito talagang about family, nalilito ang karamihan, kaya parang nakatitig lang sila ng matagal bago sila sumagot. In that case, kailangan isip kayo ng mabilis, kaya binibigay ko na sa inyo yung mga practical situations na pwede nyong i-expect sa mismong exam, okay? So, yung iba sa inyo, may na-encounter kasi akong student na nagkaasawa daw siya pero hiwalay na sila. So, ano daw yung isasagot niya dito? Okay? So, nalito din ako doon. Ang advice na binigay ko sa kanya, in this case, if you're already separated from your partner, if you're not sensitive, if for you it's okay to talk about it, then you can reveal the fact that I've been married once, but now we've separated. Yun na yun. We don't have kids. Ganon. Okay lang yun. Pero kung sensitive ka sa topic na yon at ayaw mo siyang pag-usapan at baka alam mo yun, bigla kang maiyak dun sa interview, kasi importante ang emotions natin sa interview. Once na you get dragged by your emotions at umiyak ka sa interview, you can mess it up. Nangyayari kasi yan. That's why I'm bringing it up. Okay, so sabi ko sa kanya, if hindi ka comfortable sa pagkwento na hiwalay na kayo ng asawa mo, then skip that. Just talk about your parents and your siblings. Okay? Again, if you're still young and you're single, of course you're going to talk about your parents and your siblings. Now, if you're married and you have kids, if you have a common law partner, in the Philippines, tawag natin doon live-in partner, pero ang tamang term ay common law partner, okay? If you have a common law partner, you're not yet married, but you still have kids, baka panahon na para magpakasal kayo. I'm just kidding. No. Baka, yun yung tamang isasagot. Yun pa rin, yung family mo and yung kids mo. Or regardless if you have kids or not. Now, the reason why I'm addressing this is because hahaba masyado yung sagot mo kung isasagot mo yung immediate family mo at isasagot mo pa yung parents and siblings mo. It will cause confusion. It will make your answer unorganized, and definitely you will think more. Kasi the key here in IELTS speaking, the reason why we're training you, we're coaching you, is because we want you to think less. Para nasasanay na kayo sa mga mock interviews natin, para pagdating sa mismong interview, you've already anticipated the questions. So you're ready. You're ready to answer, 'di ba? Okay. What is the best way to answer the question, describe your family? Do you have to talk about each of your siblings' jobs and status in life? Ganun ba ka-intricate dapat yung sagot? Paano kung 9 yung siblings mo? Eh di buong task 1 mo, yun na lang yun na lang talaga yung sinagot mo, di ba? You don't have to do that, okay? Yung iba naman, um, merong blended families. Yung blended families, yun yung kapag naghiwalay na yung parents, and may kapatid sa ganito, kapatid sa ganon, blended family. If you feel like it's a sensitive topic, then just say, I have my parents and I'm an only child. Ganon, okay? Ganon lang kasimple. Hindi naman to journal or diary na kailangan mong sagutan. It's just the examiner trying to check how well you can answer these types of questions. So ngayon, you just have to talk about the general facts. Wag mo na ding i-pressure yung sarili mo para isipin pang ilan ba ako sa aming magkakapatid. So sa English, paano ko ba sasabihin na pang ilan ako? Or pangatlo ko, or bunso ako, or panganay ako. 'Di ba? Mas nalilito pa kayo pag ganun yung iniisip nyo. So dapat, chill lang, chill. Um, let's start with the general facts. Describe your family. Let's say I have 4 siblings and my parents, okay? This is just a fabricated answer. This is not based on a true story. All right. Describe your family. I belong to quite a big family. I have four siblings and my parents, so we're actually seven in the family. My parents are both retired because of old age, but they keep themselves busy with their own business. They're entrepreneurs, actually. My siblings, most of them are already married, and some of them are still figuring out their career. But I would say that all of my siblings and I were independent from our parents, and we're trying to help out each other. Ganun lang kasimple. Hindi mo na kailangang sabihin na yung kuya mo may asawa na at tatlo yung anak. Tapos yung kapatid mo namang babae, may limang anak. Hindi na, okay? Very generic facts na lang. Kasi nga, di naman na yun importante. At malilito ka pa. So anything that would cause confusion, let it go. Okay? Any questions? I would like to know kung nakakatulong ba yung mga ganitong klaseng tips na binibigay ko right now. Pwede kayong sumagot guys ah. Kaya tayo meron chat thread.
Yes po, very helpful.
Ah, thank you for answering. Sino yun? Hindi ko nakita. Was it Angel?
An- Angel po.
Angel. Parang hindi pa kita na-interview, Angel. Or did I? Once.
I've attended your class po, twice.
Pero never pa
Twice
sa
na po.
coaching, right?
Hindi pa po sa coaching, ma'am.
Okay, okay, okay. I hope na maka-attend ka ng coaching with me once. Okay. Isa pa to sa mga very common topics. What's your favorite food? Sisimplihan lang natin yung sagot dito. If nahihirapan kang mag-isip on how you can describe your favorite food, baka mali yung choice of answer mo. You always have to choose an answer na kung saan magsha-shine ang vocabulary mo. So if feeling mo ayaw mo magsinungaling at gusto mo pa rin ipilit na sinigang na baboy yung favorite mong food, kailangan handa ka sa consequences. You have to know what are the ingredients of that food and why do you like it and how are you going to describe it because your examiner is a foreigner or let's say Filipina man siya. But always bear in mind that your interview is an English assessment test. So you have to assume that the person you're talking to doesn't know anything about your food, your country's food, your country's culture, or anything about your family. So kung may ibabanggit ka man na any local thing or food, make sure that you describe it as well. Okay? Kahit short description lang. Now, if you don't want to be put in that situation, then change your choice of answer. For example, roast chicken. Diba? You already painted the picture in the examiner's mind because who doesn't know what roast chicken is? Diba? It's an international dish and it's a universal dish. Everyone knows it, everyone has tasted it. Okay? Pizza, spaghetti, pasta. All right? How about pag ang tinanong naman is what is your favorite drink? Baka naman may sumagot ditong sagot gulaman ha. Sige, i-describe natin ang sagot gulaman. It's actually a very popular drink in the Philippines. Its main ingredient is actually caramelized sugar with baba. O, di ba? Hindi ko maisip paano mo i-Englishin yung sago. Boba pala yung sago, no? Pero nag-isip pa ako kasi hindi ko agad na i-translate yung sago in English. And paano ba sabihin yung nata? Jelly? See? It's so hard. Kaya naman dapat isip ka ng drink na universal. Like, this is my guilty pleasure. I really love Coca-Cola. I try my best not to drink as much soda as I can, but given the fact that the Philippines has such hot weather, it's one of the best thirst quenchers I could ever think of. So yeah, even though I know soda is not good for my health, Coca-Cola is my favorite. Sample lang yun, hindi ko talaga favorite ang Coca-Cola. Baka ma-judge ako dito, ah. Just kidding. So anyways, gets you yung concept. Are there any foods you dislike? This is the type of question na answerable by yes or no. No, I'm not a picky eater. That would be an acceptable answer. Pero is it acceptable to answer that short in IELTS? Of course not. Especially hindi ka lang sasagot ng yes or no, okay? Kahit na yes, kahit na ang tanong answerable by yes or no only on a normal conversation, hindi mo siya sasagutan ng yes and no or no lang. Kailangan reason out all the time. Remember the REE that I gave you? Your response, R is for response, E is for expand your answer or explain your answer, and another E, REE, is for giving an example, okay? Are there any foods you dislike? Yes. Filipinos love eating exotic food, such as some insects, frogs, duck fetus, but I don't seem to like them. Probably because I sort of imagine what they are like when they're alive. So whenever I think of eating those types of food, it disgusts me and I feel like throwing up. O, diba? Nagbigay ako ng example ng mga foods na ayoko at inexplain ko kung bakit. Pero una muna, sinagot ko, yes. Pero it didn't end there. Kailangan may reasoning. Kahit na nauna si example tsaka bago kay explanation, okay lang yon. Basta na-incorporate mo doon yung REE. Okay? Mas gusto ng mga examiner na ibigay mo right away yung response mo kaysa marami ka munang paligoy-ligoy tapos sa dulo mo sasabihin ng yes, no, ganun. Unahin muna si response. So, si E, example, at saka si explanation kahit mapagbaliktad yan, okay lang yun, okay? Isa pa to sa mga nakakalitong sagot. Do you like traveling? Ang karamihan kasing kadalasang iniisip ninyo pag sinabing traveling, abroad agad. Kailangan nakasakay ng eroplano pag traveling. But there are also local trips, domestic travels, na hindi kailangan mag-plane. Road tripping, going to a different town, out-of-town trip, that's considered traveling also. So, huwag kayong ma-intimidate pag ito yung tanong, okay? It doesn't necessarily have to be somewhere abroad. But, of course, if you have traveled abroad, that's also something nice to share. Especially if alam mo sa sarili mo, kayang-kaya mong i-describe yung country na pinuntahan nyo. Okay? Let's say, nakapunta ka sa Japan. Okay? You've been to Japan, and another country that you've been to is, let's say, Hong Kong. All right? But now, I want you to think, which country am I going to share with the examiner? Am I going to talk about Japan or am I going to talk about Hong Kong? Piliin mo lagi yung mas kaya mong i-share. Meaning, mas marami kang alam about that country. Okay? This is also applicable sa tanong na Where would you like to travel to next? Sinabi mo nga gusto mo sa Switzerland ka pupunta. Ngayon ang tanong, kaya mo bang i-reason out bakit sa Switzerland ka gustong pumunta next? Kasi baka mas madaling i-reason out kapag ang sagot mo Japan, 'di ba? Because you know more about it. If I were to be asked that question, which country would you like to visit to? Where would you like to travel to next? Okay. Tatlo yung pumasok sa isip ko. Singapore, Croatia, and New York. Pero kailangan ma-filter out ko sa isip ko alin sa tatlo na yon yung mas marami akong pwedeng masabi. Okay? Okay. Now I'm gonna answer it. A lot of European countries are quite popular nowadays. But there is one country that seems to be very underrated, and that's Croatia. I envision myself being there one day, enjoying beautiful walks by the seashore, because one of the most admirable beauties that Croatia have is their islands, their infrastructure, the architectural designs of buildings. They happen to have been able to preserve the beauty of vintage architecture. So that's why a lot of tourists go there nowadays. But it hasn't been commercialized that much on social media and on YouTube, unlike other countries such as Greece, Italy, Rome. Croatia is a country that is not only beautiful on the outside, but even its natural resources are beautiful. I saw a video about how beautiful nature is in Croatia, the waterfalls, the beaches. And I actually talked to one Croatian guy one day, and he told me about their culture. And I was definitely amazed. I realized that not only the artificial beauty of the country spoke to me, but even the people there and their culture. It's their culture is actually very close to Filipino culture. So I think if I were to visit that place one day, it would be an advantage for me. O, 'di ba? Kasi sa totoo lang wala akong masyadong masasabi if ang sagot ko New York or Singapore. Meron din naman, pero sa ngayon kasi top 1 si Croatia for me eh. Kasi na-in-love talaga ako sa Croatia. Sobrang ganda. Guys, search it up. You have to search it up. It's such an amazingly beautiful country. Okay. Meron pa ba kayong gustong itanong about part 1 of IELTS speaking? Because actually, this is your make it or break it part. Pag hindi nyo nasimulan ang part 1 ng interview ng magandang momentum, it will be a domino effect. Kasi iisipin nyo ng iisipin, naku, I screwed up on part 1. Wala na, yung vibe, yung energy, papunta na rin sa task 2 tsaka sa task 3. So parang, alam mo yun, galingan mo na agad sa part 1. Para kahit tagilid ka sa 2, may pambawi, di ba? And of course, it starts the pace. So dun mo mapapakita na, wow, this person really has good speaking skills. O sige, pipili ako ng gusto mag-volunteer. Can you please volunteer kung sino gustong sumagot? The question is, what do you do in your free time? O, dinalian ko lang yung tanong ha. What do you do in your free time? Sino gustong magsagot? Akala ko ba meron akong mga confident students here? Walang gustong magsagot? What do you do in your free time? Okay, this is gonna be quite confusing too. Kasi may ibang mga mommies, ang sagot nila for free time is nakaka-relax daw sa kanila ang malinis na bahay. So, maglilinis daw sila sa free time nila. Free time is usually for relaxation. So, it means it's not related to studying, it's not related to your job, and it's not related to anything that will exhaust you. So, free time is really relaxed time. So, isip ka ng, what do you usually do in your free time? Like reading a book, listening to a podcast, going to the salon, pampering yourself, or going outside for a quick walk. Pwede din yun, right? Working out, exercising is something that you can do in your free time, right? Okay, last one before we move on to part 2 questions. What's your typical day like, or what is your daily routine? Ang kailangan mo bang isagot dito, every single thing you do from the moment you wake up until the moment you go to sleep? It's gonna take you forever, so you don't have to do that. Describe your daily routine. You can just talk about the most essential things that you do in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening. Okay? Yung tatlo lang na yun. Ang gusto lang naman malaman dito is how you organize your thoughts in answering this question. Okay? I'm a morning person now. So I wake up at around 7 in the morning. The first thing I do is I eat breakfast. And then I have my morning workout, which is just a quick walk. In the afternoon, I cook and eat lunch and probably watch my favorite series on Netflix. One episode would do. At around midday, 3 p.m., I already start preparing for my online classes until 10 in the evening. So before bedtime, I would read my book, Atomic Habits by James Clear, because I'm trying not to use my phone before bedtime because the radiation will just will activate my brain too much, so I won't be able to sleep. So yeah, I read my book and do my skincare before bed. Ganun lang, okay? It doesn't have to be so detailed. Just the 3 areas of your day that you can talk about. Now, if you have a totally different routine from mine, let's say, sa gabi ka gising, sa umaga ka naman tulog, you can also talk about that. Kasi marami ditong virtual workers eh. Virtual work from home jobs. Tama ba? Okay. Same goes with any question about residential places. Pag tinanong ka, do you live in a house or in an apartment? Syempre, sagutin mo muna, you live in a house. General facts muna. I live in a bungalow house with a front yard and a spacious backyard which can fit 2 vehicles. Our house is not that big. It actually has 3 bedrooms, a kitchen, a living area, and a veranda. Ganyan. And then you can go on and say what's your favorite part of your house and why it's your favorite part of your house. Or probably you can also ask, you can wait for the examiner to ask a follow-up question. All right? What time is it? Okay, let's have a 5-minute break before we move on to part 2. Okay? Okay, so as you all know, part 2 is a lot different from the rest of the interview because on part 2, you will be given a minute to prepare. And you will also be given 2 minutes to share your thoughts about that topic. Okay. So let's practice. This is the first one. Describe a place that became special to you. Describe a place that became special to you. Ano yung una niyong maiisip? I want to know what your answers are. Like, one word lang naman yung isasend nyo or you can unmute your microphones. Church? A place where you met your special someone? I don't know. Your university, kung saan kayo graduate. Kasi, di ba, usually, doon naman nagsimula, ay, doon yung naging proseso ng pag-reach ng dreams sa school. Ayan, si Angela, school daw yung sagot niya. Angela, can you tell us why school is your answer?
Hello ma'am, si John Paul po ito.
Okay, okay.
My wife is very busy right now.
Okay, sige. So,
Opo. Pero
bakit
katabi ko lang din siya, katabi. Okay.
Mhm.
School po, school. Because me and my wife, we've been classmate since grade 1 until fourth year high school.
Grade 1
And
elementary?
yeah, yes ma'am. Yes ma'am.
Oh my gosh! Okay. And then?
And school, because kasi po, diyan niya ako sinagot. Uy! Kakakilig.
It's so cute! Okay.
Yes po, yes. Kaya memorable ang school. Sa Holy Cross College po ito sa Santa Rosa. So,
Alam
kaya
niyo na, baka nandun din yung... Okay, and
yung
then,
inyong destiny. Uy!
yung ka-age sana, no? Hindi naman yung mga students doon. Elementary ba
Yes po,
yon?
school po.
Mhm.
Since elementary po hanggang fourth year high school.
Alam mo, maganda yung sagot mo na yan, John. You know why?
Yes po.
Kasi yung sagot na yan, madali lang siyang i-explain.
Yes po. Opo.
Because it's something close to your heart.
Yes po.
And definitely, kung mapapakita mo yung genuine emotions mo, Mas pabor sa'yo yun.
Yes, ma'am. It
You wanna
was,
try answering it?
yeah, it was JS from 12, 11 at 11, before midnight po nang makatanggap ako ng matamis niyang oo. Fourth year high
Do you
school.
wanna try answering the question in IELTS way?
Maybe man, no, after ano po, baka po sa coaching ano nyo na lang, paki-ask na lang po ulit sa akin. I'm not ready
No,
po.
I insist. Maybe you would like to try.
I'm speechless now, ma'am.
Natatawa tuloy si Angela. Okay, sige. Sagutin mo na lang in a way na no pressure pero English pa din. Can you do that? Tell us your kwento na lang, but in English I want, please.
Ay, biglang may tumawa. Balikan na lang po mamaya. Sorry po. Sorry po.
Is it true?
Opo, may ano po may dumating biglang
Okay,
ano.
how about you, Angela? Do you want to answer the question?
Um, try ko po.
Okay, sure. Okay.
Let me, ano nga. A place that became special and memorable to me is at our school. It's Holy Cross College, located in Santa Rosa, Nueva Ecija, in the Philippines. I studied there from kinder till high school, and it's memorable for me because this is where my husband and I met. We were classmates since grade 1 up to fourth year high school, and he courted me, and then I said yes to him we were when we joined our JS junior high school, junior senior prom, and it's really special because we up to this moment we're still together, and I never had any regrets marrying him. That's all, ma'am.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you for sharing that, Angela. At least na-clarify mo kasi kanina sabi ni John, you met when you were in grade 1 and I was like, magjowa na sila grade 1. At least na-clarify mo na you started the relationship in high school, right?
Yes po. Fourth year,
Okay.
magbe-vacation na ng fourth year high school.
Okay. Got it. They were really destined to be together. Kasi since grade 1 pa lang pala, you guys already met. So, that's a really good example. Thank you, Angela and John. We appreciate your participation and your answers. Kasi when you talk about something close to your heart, definitely, natural na lang yung pag-share. Okay? A place that became special to you. Yung iba, meron ba kayong, even if you just type your answer, hindi ko kayo pagsasalitain, feeling ko natatakot na yung iba tuloy. Ano ba yung mga places na special sa inyo? And maybe you can also write there, why was it special to you? It could be a country that you visited as well, or a place that you visited out of town. That it has to be associated with a special memory. Okay, so lagi nyong, every time na magpa-practice kayo, make sure na 2 minutes ang ibibigay nyong time. So I suggest, every time that you're practicing for IELTS, yung mga PDF, yung mga questions na sinend namin through the PDF, record your answer on your phone's recorder, voice memo, and i-track nyo kung nakaka 2 minutes na kayo. At least napapractice kayo dun sa ganong paraan, okay? Okay. Let's try a different question. How about this? Describe a time when you received good news. Okay, anybody else? Valerie, would you like to answer? You don't have to particularly answer the whole task. I'm just asking for what's the good news that you received? Yeah, only yun lang. I'm not gonna ask you to answer like Angela answered it. Ano yung mga good news na na-receive nyo? I wanna know. Can you please answer, guys? We have Jessa, Highness, AJ, Maxine, Valerie, Jemmy, and CJ. So drop down your answers on the chat thread. Oh, passed the board exam. Congratulations. Can you tell us anong board exam to, Highness? Oh, wow. Amazing. Okay. Anybody else? Magbibigay ako ng sample, but I want to know your answers. Oh, getting the internship abroad. Congratulations, Jemmy. Para naman maging good vibes yung class natin. Alamin natin kung ano yung mga good news na na-receive nyo. That's a good question for me too, no? Well, this is not good news na na-receive ko, but it's a good news that I observed about myself. When I passed the nursing board exam, yay! Okay. Congratulations, Maxine. Ako yung good news na share ko. It's not like an exam or anything. It doesn't have to be an exam. It could be just as simple as it could be simple. For example, you received a message from a friend that she Okay, I'm gonna answer the question. Congratulations, AJ! Ang dami naman pala nating teachers and nurses dito in this community. Amazing. I want to share good news that I received from a lot of people nowadays. So I'm gonna try answering this question in 2 minutes. Gusto ko, the way nyo sagutin yung tanong, it's like you're just sharing a story to a friend. Hindi siya parang isa-isa mong sasagutin yung bullets. Because the bullet questions, those are the answers that you have to incorporate in your 2-minute session talk. But at the same time, guide lang yan. Ang pinaka-point natin is a time when you received good news. Okay? So, I'm gonna set the timer and I'm gonna see if I can complete it in 2 minutes. Pag nag-exceed ka sa 2 minutes, let's say 2.15 seconds, 2.30 seconds, and the examiner hasn't stopped you yet, it's okay. Alright? It's okay. Ibig sabihin, gusto pa niyang pakinggan yung sasabihin mo. A message from my former employer asking me if I can and okay, Angel. Oh, your employer is following up. That's amazing news. I'm happy for you. Okay. Ako naman, eto na yung good news ko. I don't think it's comparable to you guys, but I'm not comparing because I'm in a different dimension of journey nowadays, okay? Okay. Let me begin. Three months ago, I decided that I would take my health seriously, and I decided to start my weight loss journey. So there are a lot of factors why I wanted to start my weight loss journey. First is because I wanted to improve my confidence in myself, especially my physical appearance. Second is because of health-related reasons. I would I was diagnosed with PCOS in the past. Now it's actually called PMOS, which means that it's a metabolic disease or a metabolic situation, which hinders me from conceiving a baby. So since I'm married, I want to have a baby soon. That's actually one of the reasons why I wanted to start my weight loss journey. And for the longest time, I have had irregular periods. And that's actually one of the reasons why I can't easily conceive a baby. And because of my consistency in my weight loss journey, I changed everything. My lifestyle, my eating habits, my diet, my physical exercise, my physical activity from sedentary to more active lifestyle. And I've been tracking my period for the last 6 months. And ever since I started shifting my whole lifestyle into a better version of my lifestyle, I noticed that my period became regular and it has been ongoing for the last 3 months, which means that my hormones are regulating. And my doctor said that there are higher chances of me conceiving a baby soon. So I'm very happy with those news. And definitely, I'm very optimistic because it's a dream of mine to really have my baby soon. Akala niyo ang sagot ko dun, I'm pregnant, ah. Were you guys waiting for that? I'm sorry, I'm not, siguro na-mislead ko kayo ng konti, no? So si AJ nag-expect siya, magpapakita si ma'am ng pregnancy test. No, this is just a lip tint. Not yet, not yet. Actually, having a baby is something that you should plan. Not only physically, but financially and career-wise. Kasi, if you're a working mom, you should plan. Of course, mawawala ka ng how many months? Not just maybe a year. Baka hindi ako mag-work ng isang buong year, right? If I want to focus on motherhood, right? So, and it also will depend on my situation, my pregnancy. So, don't worry guys, bago ako mag-decide to have a baby, I need to prepare the next coach. Kasi feeling ko hindi kaya ni Sir Kevin mag-isa. Yung schedule niya kasi right now, it's very hectic. Kaya twice a week lang talaga yung kaya niyang i-commit. So, we have to look for a replacement. Kasi hindi naman natin pwedeng pabayaan ang review center. Tama ba? So, yun. For those who don't know yet, I'm already 33. That's why I'm quite pressured at this moment. That's why yun yung good news for me, okay? And I'm proud of myself because I really worked hard for this. Like every single day. I'm already 4 months in my journey. Pero nung 3 months ko palang napansin yung changes in my hormones. And definitely, I'm happy with the results. And so if you're thinking that you should also take a shift in your lifestyle, this is the right time for it. There's no need for you to wait for the first day of the month, Monday. No, now is the right time to take that shift. And definitely, you're not going to regret it. Kung ano man yung health issue na gusto nyong i-address, I think going back to flattening everything, your sleep routine, your diet, your physical exercise, it's an investment that will really ma-ROI nyo yan in the future, especially when you get older. Okay? So let's think longevity about the future, about when we need to be less dependent from people, right? Because we never know what life brings. But anyways, let's have another sample. How about this one? Describe a person who always makes you laugh. Is anyone willing to volunteer for an answer? Ngayon naman, once na nagbigay ako ng sample answer ko, I want you to write down your feedback. Ano yung napansin nyo sa sagot ko, and how can you apply it in yourself once you are in the interview? Okay, describe a person who always makes you laugh. It could be a celebrity, a comedian. It could be someone close to you, a sibling, parents. Okay. Walang gusto mag-volunteer? What about Angela? Feeling ko gusto niya ulit. Okay. Sa mga ganitong cases, when the question is about a person, you can get carried away. Maybe you can start giving away information, other kinds of information about that person, which is okay. Pero wag niyong hahayaan ma-off topic. Okay? So, kailangan, ang main theme pa rin ng question is someone who makes you laugh. Who the person is, how did you get to know that person, what they do that makes you laugh, and explain why you enjoy spending time with them. Okay? So, para ka lang ulit nagkikwento. You can make an introduction. Okay. Ready? I'm gonna answer it since wala namang nag-volunteer. Okay. The funny thing is, ang daming pumapasok sa isip ko na people right now because most of my friends are actually very sanguine. Sanguine temperament. Guys, do you know what the 4 temperaments are? Have you heard of the 4 temperaments? We have different kinds of temperaments, but we have the 4 major temperaments. 2 of these are present in a person, are more dominant in a person, okay? The temperaments are sanguine, choleric, melancholic, and phlegmatic. All right? Again, sanguine, choleric, melancholic, and phlegmatic. So, sanguine type of person, this is the happy-go-lucky type of person. Meaning, siya yung parang clown sa group, siya yung nakakatawa, the humorous type, optimistic kind of friend, sanguine yan. Okay? Choleric naman is the studious type of person who more likely to be the bossy kind of friend. Parang siya yung leader type, very choleric. Okay? When there is a task that needs to be done, very serious siya at siya yung magte-take ng lead. Now, the melancholic type of person naman, this is from the word melancholy. If you're aware of that word, it actually means sadness. So, very emotional tong si melancholic. Like, sensitive siya pagdating sa emotions and medyo may pagka-emotional type of person, okay? And then we have the phlegmatic. A phlegmatic type of personality is like, very neutral yung reaction niya sa lahat. Neutral meaning hindi extreme, hindi rin mababang-mababa. Nakapagitna siya lagi. So, a phlegmatic kind of person is like, hindi masyadong nagre-react agad. Pero deep thinker. Deep thinker siya, okay? So, marami akong friends na nasa sanguine type of personality. So, medyo nahihirapan akong isipin who's the person who always makes me laugh. Okay? Ang dami kong explanation, no? Pero for sure, you can think of someone. Okay? All right, ready? I'm going to answer this question. In 3, 2, 1. All right. So a few months ago, I met my personal trainer. His name is Mark. And he's a pretty nice guy. He's very funny because whenever I ask him to give me a particular structure for my workout routine, he would sarcastically always answer me with those questions. So it makes the training fun. And I think that's something that's very important when it comes to training and learning something new. There should be a balance of fun and seriousness in the activity so that students like me who were once intimidated in physical training are somehow finding joy in the activity itself. Because definitely this shift of lifestyle has become quite a challenge in my life. That's why when I met my personal trainer, Mark, he showed me another side of taking this journey. Like, you can be highly focused on it, but you can also have fun. So, that's why I like his personality. Because it also taught me to be a little more relaxed when it comes to my students. That I don't have to always be serious at all times. And whatever I've been learning from Mark, I'm applying it as well as a language coach. And I feel like it's very effective. That's why he inspires me to be a good balance of fun and serious when it comes to teaching and learning. Okay? So, muntikan na akong ma-off topic doon kasi medyo nag-focus ako sa training namin. But then, binalik ko ulit siya sa tao, the person who always makes you laugh. Okay? So, IELTS can be a very draining kind of activity for everyone. It's draining because yung mga mock test pa lang nakaka-drain na. That's why I suggest just have fun in the process, okay? Wag masyadong um like, yes, you have to practice for your IELTS, but if you need a mental break every now and then, take it easy. It's okay. Kung feeling niyo masyado na kayong bombarded with all the lessons and stuff, just take a few days break and take it easy. Hindi lang naman IELTS yung buhay niyo, right? There's a life outside IELTS, and sometimes kasi when you are too fixed in one situation, it kind of feels like it's too much. So learn to take it easy, learn to balance life, okay? And definitely, hindi naman tayo tatapos ng hindi tinatackle yung part 3, okay? So yes, we are going to talk about part 3. Again, I'm gonna send you another link kasi meron akong napanood na interview online. Sobrang galing niya sumagot ng part 3 questions. And I think lahat ng tips na ibibigay ko about part 3 makakatulong din to sa inyo today. We think that part 3 questions and answers are still opinion-based. Somehow, yes. Pero actually, kailangan kasi dito sa part 3 ng IELTS is for you to be able to talk about general facts muna. Okay? So, for example, how does tourism benefit a country? Kailangan lawakan nyo yung isip nyo dito. Because you can't just talk about what you see in your town. You have to also talk about what's happening in the country. Okay? So, you have to be aware how tourism benefits the Philippines. This is also a topic that you should read about. Okay? So how does tourism benefit a country like the Philippines? Huwag na kayong lumayo, Philippines na yung i-focus natin. On part 3, make sure that your answers are organized. And you have to show better vocabulary lexical resource here. Kaya naman galingan yung sagot sa part 3, okay? And a reminder about part 3 is that you should answer showcasing the reality that's happening, and then you can give your personal examples later on. Pero una nyo munang i-discuss yung pinaka-topic. Alright, so tourism creates a big impact, especially in the economy of a country. Tourism has opened a lot of businesses, food businesses, travel businesses, such as hotels, accommodations, tours. And another very important area that tourism has impacted in a country is its exposure globally. So definitely in the food industry, the more people that go to a place or to a country, the more food businesses become bigger, especially in places wherein tourism is mostly developed. In the Philippines, for example, in famous places such as Siargao, it has become one of the hot places for foreign tourists nowadays. Actually, Siargao in the Philippines is known as the new Bali. From a sacred, not very well-known area of the Philippines, now Siargao's tourism has flourished through the years. So many cafes, restaurants have opened, and definitely this has helped the community grow when it comes to their economy. Okay, so napansin niyo ba? Hindi ko na tinapos yung sagot, pero napansin niyo, in-explain ko muna yung bigger picture, and then I came up with an answer, which is showing an example of how the impact of tourism is in a country. Okay? I would also like to add the fact that tourism helps a country through exposure, because nowadays, social media is such an important tool in global exposure of a country. So that's why a lot of vloggers, content creators, they somehow help in that sense. Do you get my point? I know it's not easy to answer task 3 questions, pero kaya yan, okay? How about another set of questions? Why do people admire others? What qualities make a person admirable? In this case, pay attention to the plural form of the word qualities, meaning you have to mention two or more. Ang kadalasan kasing ginagawa ng mga test takers, you're only mentioning one quality. Eh, ang tanong, what are the qualities that make a person admirable? Okay? So, isip kayo agad. Ano yung qualities na gusto nyong banggitin? Of course, I wouldn't give the word successful as an answer kasi success is subjective. Pwedeng para sa'yo, being financially stable is successful. Being wealthy is successful. Para naman sa iba, in their career, having a good career or reaching the peak of their career is success to them. Or probably buying their first property is a success to them, but to others, that's just a simple thing. So it's subjective, diba? So I think qualities that make a person admirable could be resilience, intelligence, being hardworking. Okay? So, after naming the qualities that you like, that you think are making a person admirable, you have to also give an example and an explanation for each. Okay? Medyo napapagod na yung utak ko. Pero sige, ito na yung last na sasagutin ko for part 3. Example, okay? Paraphrase the question, don't parrot the question. The qualities that make a person admirable, that's parroting. So if you were to paraphrase it, you would say, for me, the factors that make a person likable would be number 1, a person who's resilient. Next would be intelligence. And lastly, fashionable. Okay, first, resilience. People who have high emotional intelligence are known to be resilient because no matter what hardships they face in life, they can easily bounce back from it and learn from the situation. Because that's how life is supposed to be. Whenever we face something difficult, it should strengthen us, not drag us down. So for me, if a person is resilient, I admire that person instantly because resilience shows strength. Second is intelligence. I believe that every person has their own intelligence. It could be musically inclined, it could be about arts, it could be about any other field. But if a person chooses to hone their intelligence and to grow themselves and to follow a career path that they know they would flourish, that person to me is someone I would look up to for the rest of my life because it shows that that person has a dream and does everything that they can to make those dreams come true. And last but not the least, being fashionable. I am a person who loves fashion. I easily get lost whenever I online shopping or at the shopping mall because I just love how certain apparels would combine with other kind of apparels, and I just love fashion. That's why when I see someone who is always put together and has a great fashion sense, I'm easily I'm easily enticed to follow that person, whether it's on social media or knowing more about their lives. I am highly interested in that person. So for me, those are the qualities that would really make someone a role model to me. Okay? So that's how you organize your answers on task 3. Give each answer some equal time. Okay? Give examples that could support your ideas. All right. So we're about to end our session today. Hopefully nakatulong tong session na to prepare you for your interview and to give you more ideas on how to answer your speaking test. We will be posting another schedule on Tuesday evening for the upcoming week. If you have any questions, please let me know. And if you don't have, we'll see each other again next week. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your Saturday. Okay? And Sunday. So, wala na bang gustong magtanong before we end?